Welcome back to The Pulse. Yesterday, the world marked International Women's Day under the 2026 theme, Give to Gain. The theme calls on individuals, organizations, and communities to actively contribute to the advancement of women and girls. But beyond the celebrations, the focus is on the real action, ensuring women and girls enjoy equal rights, fair opportunities, and meaningful roles in decision-making. Here in Ghana, women continue to break barriers in politics, business, media, and entrepreneurship. Yet, the bigger question remains, do these achievements reflect real progress for the everyday Ghanaian woman? So today on The Pulse, we ask, beyond the hashtags, are Ghanaian women really advancing? And joining me is a panel of accomplished women from across different sectors to discuss progress, persistent challenges, and what genuine action should look like going forward. I will introduce them shortly, but first here's a report produced by one of my guests highlighting the fight against cancer in Africa and the role one woman is playing in Nairobi to change the narrative. Emefa Etiamwa Eli has more from Kenya.
Dorothy Inyongo is the managing trustee of Africa Cancer Foundation and the First Lady of Kisumu County in Kenya. She is a global advocate for women's health, particularly cancer. For Dorothy, the statistics around cancer are deeply personal, from her home to close friends, country, and the continent. Nyong'o says many African patients are lost not because treatment does not exist, but because they are diagnosed too late or cannot navigate fragmented health systems.
Our governments need to prioritize women's cancers. We lose a lot of patients in the journey because they don't know where to go or what to do next. They don't even understand the urgency of their diagnosis.
Across Africa, the challenge is stark. Health advocates gathered to push for a shift in thinking about health investments. Jacqueline Wambua is the general manager for Roche East Africa.
For far too long, health has been treated as a cost, a line item in a budget, something to reduce when resources are scarce. That way of thinking no longer serves us as a continent, because our continent is changing. This is the moment to change our conversation, where health is no longer a cost, but health is wealth.
In Kenya, the government says policies alone are not enough if systems fail patients when they need care. Dr. Uma Ulunga works with Kenya's Ministry of Health.
We are part of those countries that are very aggressively pursuing the universal health coverage dream. We have placed healthcare at the center of economic transformation, asking ourselves two questions. One is, how can healthcare be a driver of economic development? But number two, how do we make healthcare and health systems to protect lives and to protect people?
Africa's cancer burden is projected to double by 2040, yet many countries still spend less than $35 per person on health each year.
Research points to a clear opportunity. Health investment delivers returns. The data shows that every dollar invested in innovative cancer treatments can generate up to US dollars 12.40 in economic value, while early public health interventions can return more than 14 times the initial investment.
For advocates like Dorothy Nyongo, the way forward is simple: early screening, faster diagnosis, and stronger health systems that give every patient a fighting chance. My name is Emefa Etiamwa Eli for Joy News, Nairobi.
And in the studio, I have the coordinator of strategic partnerships and projects with the Joy Brands at the Multimedia Group Limited, MFA Ewenam Atiamwa Eli, and also the head of news and current affairs with Adom Brands, Martha Krensel Aqua. Janet Nabla is the chairperson and leader of the People's National Party, PNP. On Zoom, I have Cynthia Mawulawe Kodowu, the executive director and founder at HR Network Africa. Ladies, thank you very much for joining me in studio and, of course, via video link, and belated International Women's Day to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, and this year's theme for International Women's Day is Rights, Justice and Action for All Women and Girls. I want to come into the studio first. From your perspective, MF, I'll start with you. How do you think Ghana is doing to bridge the gap between girls and boys when it comes to, first of all, education?
Thank you very much, Ken, for the opportunity, and thanks for wishing us a happy International Women's Day. How government is doing, or Ghana is doing, I think that we still have a long way to go. Is there hope? Yes. Just that it appears we are throttling, you know, but eventually we'll get there. We have quite a large number of youth, largely girls, women, that have to be mentored, have to be guided as to how to navigate the challenges, the issues in the system to make it to the top there. It's not easy, you know, and you need that toughness, you need that strength, you need that focus. But where do they draw that toughness from? Where do they draw that inspiration from? That is where I feel we need to do more. Ghana needs to do more, particularly with the women who are already there, to be able to bring up the many who are down there looking up to us. So we have quite a long way to go. We might be trotting now, but certainly we'll get there. There's hope.
Martha, over the years, Ghana has introduced a lot of initiatives to sort of bridge the gender inequality gap. We know of, for example, the affirmative action law and other initiatives that is to help in bridging the gender inequality gap. Do you think the country has done enough in that respect?
Thank you very much, Ken. I think women are traditionally at a disadvantage. And so we cannot have enough of the platforms that will help to push women forward. When you are starting from a place below ground level, you must do a lot more work to get to the ground level and to rise above and go beyond it. I think there is good policy, but the action on the ground is what we don't see much of. For instance, you have mentioned the affirmative action bill, law. There are other ones, but what is a reality in translation? Have you seen that project women beyond what we ourselves set to go beyond? And when people see it as a competition, then it becomes a problem. So pushing the woman forward is not a competition. It is just in the interest of the nation, our development, for women to have certain platforms. Because like Dr. Kwejiagri says it, if the woman gets it right, you don't have to struggle. But when you have the burden of having to prove yourself, to do extra before you get there, then it becomes a problem. Already, women shoulder a lot. We are not saying men don't do anything. That's what I'm saying. It's not a competition. But women, by their nature, shoulder a lot.
Right.
And so boosting them a little with policy, with frameworks, just tells them we think about you, we know what you do, we recognize, and we still want you to continue what you're doing. So yes, we have some frameworks, we have some policies, but I think there is more room for improvement so women can go further.
I'll come back to you, ladies. Let me go on Zoom right now and bring in Cynthia. Cynthia, you are the head of an HR firm. Is it tough and challenging being a woman boss?
Good afternoon to every one of you. And yes, the answer is yes. It is very difficult because of our cultural nuances. You know, culturally, women are depicted to be more domestic inclined. And so even at the workplace, a lot of people already prejudge you And once you get to the top, people tend to think that you probably slept your way to get there, or you are too bossy to lead. And so a lot of people actually show up at your decks with a lot of biases, and that makes it extremely difficult for a lot of women to actually execute without having to overdo it.
Right.
Just like she just said, it's like we are always navigating ourselves right from the very pit. And when you're doing that, you want to overcompensate. So whereas my counterpart, the man who is leading, will perhaps have a lot of yeah, let's get going. For a woman, you need to get everybody's buy-in. You need to do a lot of work before you can actually get everyone supporting that strategic goal for which you have been employed to lead the charge. And so yes, women struggle much more.
There's often the saying that women are their own enemies. People say that when women get to the top, they find it very difficult to push other women to get to the top with them. Do you see that to be the case?
I think it's neither here nor there. For me, I think it's really more about being able to equip women to understand that getting to the top requires some level of competency and capacity. And so if we are intentional about grooming people and making them ready, then there won't be that nuance that women are their own enemies. We really are not our own enemies. I belong to a network, EWN, for example, where women are intentionally groomed to take up leadership positions, And so I would say that it always has to do with access and what you can do. And that is why this time around, actually, we're pushing something. We're pushing the give to gain. The give to gain because we think that it's high time we moved away from just mentoring people, but sponsoring people. Be the voice in that room that the next woman needs to leverage on. When you are given the seat, you need to show competence such that the next time another woman is brought up to the table, all heads are nodding, yes, she can do it, bring her on board. And so for us, we don't want an easy ticket and just a pass through the door. We want people to gain the competence needed to deliver when given the opportunity. And I believe that every other woman on this panel and beyond, once they can see potential and competence in you, it's an easy thing to put as social collaterals on the line to make sure that the next woman gets there. And so I would say that we are not our own enemies because there are actually a lot of initiatives that are going on which are being powered by women, led by women, and driven by women to make sure that more women can actually get to the top in leadership.
Right. Cynthia, don't go yet. Let me come back to the studio. I want to come to you with this one. Usually, when women are in workplaces, when people are considering employment of women in certain capacities, they consider a lot of things. They say that women are going to give birth, women are going to, experience what women go through. I know you know what I mean. How do all of these affect women in pursuing their dreams to reach the highest or the apex of their career? How does this hinder the progress of women? All these factors, which are natural causes that women can't do anything about.
Ken, I like the last line that you said concerning it's a natural circumstance. And I'm not too comfortable with the idea because why should a natural circumstance prevent me from becoming or going to the very top? I think it's high time society accepts who a woman is. From the way you articulated your question, it means that that is who a woman is. That is what makes a woman. And so if you are in a working environment, why doesn't the working environment appreciate that? Why doesn't the working environment make room for that? I am not saying that, let's assume on the instance of, say, women having to go through their monthly periods, okay? Some women have very serious cramps.
Right.
And to the extent that they are not able, it's not even about the environment, the work environment, but even their home.
Yeah.
For them to even wake up on daily basis to bathe themselves and go about just what will make them the everyday person. It's so difficult for them, not to even talk about picking their bags, dressing up and picking a car and coming to the working environment to do work. You can make exception for those people, but then there are people who also go through that period, but they are just fine and they do their work. My point is, if you know that this is how a woman is, this is what makes up a woman, you shouldn't give the person KPIs, you shouldn't give the person some kind of expectations that you, at the end of the day, would not allow the person to give up the best or give up what you expect of the person. The example of somebody going through that painful of a monthly experience, you know that, oh, for you know, the person is a very good skill, a very able team member, but because of this circumstance, during a certain period in the month, the person might not be always available. Question is, how are you making that, how are you making the workplace, you know, warm? How are you making the workplace more accessible and something the lady can feel comfortable and work with, regardless this. People work from home. We have situations where women can work from home. Would you say that because she is having her menstrual cramps, so it's a no, I'll not give you the challenge? No. Do you get it? There are other women who can always fill in when the need be, okay? We should create the environment that acknowledges the strength of women, but not to stereotype them. Do you get it? Me having issues in the course of the month or giving birth as a woman should not prevent me to become who I need or I must become in the future. I am a mother, I have children. I started working before I started having children. Yes, by the virtue of what you do, depending on your schedule, you might need some of support, home, office. Have our work environments made it easy for the woman to stay at work, to be productive, even when she is nurturing or going through maternity? You know, all of these things have been discussed over the years, but at the end of the day, it only ends on the table. Do you get it? So it is beyond a natural situation, and so because of that, we don't want to give the woman the space, the opportunity, and that is not being fair to the person. The life of the woman does not end because she's a mother, right, or she's pregnant, or she's having her period.
It's just a woman.
It's just a phase. It will go. So many years ago, I wasn't like this. It's been tough as a mother. It's been tough growing up as a teenager and having your monthly periods. But with the necessary support, both at work, at home, even among your friends, I have been able to sail through. Question is, who is watching out for the other women who have found themselves in other hostile environments, other hostile working environments? Who is watching out for them? What are our labor laws saying? Who is pushing so that these things do not limit the women? I think it is our society, it is our working environment that do not make it or do not encourage the woman, regardless of all these challenges or the natural phenomenon, to enable them move forward.
Let me acknowledge the presence of Janet Nabla. She's the founder of People's National Party. You're welcome. I'll come back to you shortly, but Martha wants to make a comment.
I just want to give you one of the situations I found myself in when I started work. And my boss, I won't mention the gender, said, because I employed you and 9 months down the lane, you're pregnant. You have defeated that urge in me to want to employ women who are married. So henceforth, I'll only employ single young girls so that before they get to the age of wanting to marry and to give birth, they have had enough time to work for me. And that hurt a lot. And because of that, my schedule was changed. I was put in the midnight, late news belt and everything. And around that time, when I closed, first trimester, difficult, I couldn't eat. Then I have to still come in the morning and follow Chachu Chikate's case in court. So I come in the morning, I close at midnight, just because I was pregnant. But then you asked a question about how this affects us going up in the work environment. It terminates our ambition at a point if we don't get the necessary support. Because you see the young lady striving to make it, let's say in the media industry. She gets to a point where she needs to keep going and perhaps grab a managerial role. When she gets to that point where she has to do extra, maybe 3 times what her colleague man will do, she will get frustrated at some point and will terminate the ambition there and find something else that is non-competitive, that is not going to mark her, that no matter how much effort she puts into it, like Maulawe said, you are seen as sleeping your way to the top. And so it terminates ambition for most women at a certain age, or when you don't have a supportive family, then let me just go and find something else comfortable to do so I can have time maybe for family, so I can have time for social life and every other thing. And so our environment makes it sometimes a bit too difficult. And so those who break through the glass ceiling, if you ask them, they will tell you what they have to go through to come through as such. And I think until we turn the frameworks, the policies into reality and action and be deliberate about it, we are not going to help the woman. We'll just write it. And that's it, we leave it there.
I see that it's very dear to your heart. You become very emotional talking about that. Janet, welcome once again. You are in a field that is largely dominated by men. You are in politics. You were with the PNC, broke away to form the PNP. Do you think that because you are a woman, your voice is usually challenged most of the time just because you're a woman? When you say something, you feel like people are not listening to it just because you're a woman, and you feel like if it were to be a man in that same position, people would have listened.
Let me greet you, my co-panelists, and let me greet our viewers out there. One of the difficult places to be as a woman is the political sector, because this is a place whereby men are striving to climb, and you, a woman, you are out there. They are ready to throw like stones at you. They are ready to do anything to discourage you so that you go to their back. You know, one thing is that you hear them say that we are trying to encourage women to be in politics. Yes, they are encouraging you to contest as a women's organizer. They are not asking you to come and contest as a chairman, like a general secretary, to be contesting positions that they want to do. And even as a women's organizer, I've said it and I'm saying it again. You are a women's organizer, you are in a meeting, a NEC meeting. This is National Executive Committee, the second highest position in, after Congress. And then they call you to tell you that, how can a woman be here and will be hungry? Go and organize food for us. So the only reason why the women's organizer's position was given to us is so that when there is a meeting, you can organize the women to prepare housekeeping job. You know, I've been telling people, you know, men don't cook at home, but when you go to restaurants, they cook and they collect money.
Chef.
They don't sweep, they don't do cleaning, but when they go out, they clean. When you go to hospitals, it's men who are cleaners. Anything that money is not attached to it is a woman's job. I hope you understand. So that is the reason why in politics, things are becoming more and more difficult for women. And for me, I have never in my life passed through difficulties, if not because of the God I serve, if not because I trust in the Lord, and because I trust in Him, and He loves me, He gives me that like that courage to be able to stay. Look, a time came when a guy called me and said, Janet Nabla, are you the one? I said, yes. The insults, they would say all things about you, your family, and you know that word, they will put it on you. Whether you are that or you are not like that. For instance, with me, I'm not like that. To me, I wanted to even be a Roman sister. It was I wanted to be a Roman sister. It's my dad.
What word is that, by the way?
I wanted to be a Roman sister.
You said there's a word.
The word of that word that they give to women. Look.
She doesn't want to say.
I don't want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I respect that.
Prostitute, blah, blah, blah. They say those things. And you know, when they see that you are closer to someone, they think that because you are closer to him, you are having something to do with him. I didn't know that maybe when a woman is closer to a man, maybe the woman does things with the man in other. I never thought that, because lecturers, when I was in school, my friends were lecturers, and they have never helped me because I've never asked them to. You are my friend, we can discuss. I will never ask you what questions are you bringing in, because I don't want to have anything to do with you apart from that friendship. My dad gave, we are 9 in number, and I'm the second but last born. So you can see that I was my dad was already old, and that was my closest friend. So when I see people who used to be elderly, I wanted to attach myself to them after my dad died. So I don't want anything apart from just being your friend and you being like a father to me. So in politics, the difficulties I passed through, to the extent of they took me to several courts. In my life, I've never gone to court before. No one have ever sent me to police station. But I've been arrested 3 times in politics. I have been arrested. Someone went to tell them that I've threatened to kill him. If I were to be a man, what the Ghana police did to me, they would never have done it. And then they wrote a letter to the media calling for my arrest. It was all over the news. The person said it. They never asked the person to prove. When I got to the regional police station, I asked them, if I were to, let's say Nana Akufo-Addo, someone comes here to tell you that Nana-Addo has threatened to kill me, will you arrest Nana Akufo-Addo? Or you ask for the evidence? Has he given you evidence that no? But I was arrested in the media without even being told. I also saw my arrest in the media. So I was waiting. It took me 3 weeks to get the letter from the police, the arrest that they did. I've been arrested 3 good consecutive times for nothing else. And I've been sent to the court. I have been in court for 3 good, like 5 different courts. I will finish from this court one day and then go to the next court. All these things just to discourage me so that I will not, I will fall back. But I refused, and I persevered. Right. One of the things that I heard my sister talking about, this getting pregnant and those things, it is a labor law. The labor law says that if you know you are pregnant, don't apply for any this thing. So you should. So we have to deal with the labor law. You understand? So when we deal with the labor law, then we are finding solutions. When you look at the Constitution of Ghana, I think Article 27(1), it says that when you give birth and you are going back, there's work that the place where you work, they should have a nursery, so that you can drop the child there until the child is 2 years. And then you can now send the child to school. But we don't have that. And as women, we have to persevere to make sure that such things are done.
Have you ever considered quitting politics just because you were a woman, looking at all the challenges you faced?
Yeah, yes. A time came, even my family members had to come up with a lie that they saw my dad in a dream, and my dad said I should quit politics. And I told them that my dad has done well, but he should have told me, because I'm also the child. I'm your child. Yeah. If you want to pass information to me, you don't tell my brothers or my sisters, you tell me myself. So you see, because my brothers, they were fed up with the insults. Yeah. And the insults were not only for me, it came for my son's dad. They brought, one day I got up and saw my child and other on a platform with insults and other things. They couldn't stand it. Right. They had to come up with a lie just to push me out of politics. But I refused, because I know why I am there. Majority of the things that I'm doing, I do it because I believe that if a woman is there, it's better. You know, we came up with a statement about these issues, and I was telling the press that the 30% representation of the affirmative action, the press must be the first institution to push it. You don't have 30% representation of panelists and other people that come here. Whenever I see you during the time of the State of the Nation's address or the budget reading, after that, instead of you to also listen to women, you run after men. You run after the men. So if the media are not giving the 30% representation to us, and they want to push the government to do it and push other institutions, do you think it is fair that you, the media, who are the fourth arm of government, who are supposed to chastise the government to do the right thing for women, you are not doing it? Do you think you are standing in the right position to tell the government to do it?
Right. I have a few experience of trying to get some women on some political shows. Usually, when you call them, the first thing they ask you is, some of them, not all of them, who is on the panel. They'll ask you if you mention I will not come. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get some of the women on the show. And I must commend you that you're one of the few women who is always available and ready to come on any political show, regardless of who you are facing. You are almost always on the Joy Prime Inside weekend show. But some of the women, they are very reluctant to come.
Ken, let me just. I think we are a nation of hypocrites. It's sad to say. This thing about women inclusion, gender equality, and all of that, most often, I think we just leave it at a dialogue level, discussion level. She was talking about the affirmative bill action, and all of that.
It's a law now.
Yes, the affirmative action law. Point is, you want women to be out there, but we have been socialized to accept that as a woman, you mustn't be loud. You shouldn't be seen. You should, like she said earlier, you should also always be busy around the house. But this is a country which is doing everything possible to take a certain conditionality or a box to say that this program I am running, it is gender inclusive. It is participatory. You want to tick all the boxes. So we are saying we want women fairly represented in parliament. But see the story she's telling. Like you said, ordinarily, all the women giving you the excuse of not being able to appear on the show, truth be told, it's not their fault. It's because of these kind of experiences. If you don't have that toughness of mind, that courage, that zeal to motivate yourself beyond all of these conversations we are having here, beyond what the affirmative action law is saying, beyond what the HRs, the women advocates are saying, if it doesn't come innate, if it doesn't come from you, it is so easy to quit. It is so easy to quit. I have seen colleagues in the newsroom who have had to give up their jobs because of how the environment does not favor them being mothers, being women. Yeah. As a woman and a mother and a wife, I have had my own share. There are days that because of the job or because of my family, let me say that, I have had to keep mute. I have had to play dumb. I've had to look as if I am not who I want to be or what I'm supposed to be, just to let peace prevail. Point is, these women you are asking to come on the show or to want to, it is not just about them as individuals. They are minded by the people around them and the comments they will pass, the judgment and assessment they will give to the contributions they make on the show. Meanwhile, you and I are sitting here are saying that, but this is the kind of women we want to raise. These are the kind of women we want to see as Ghanaians, branding Ghana, showing up as Ghanaians. On the other side, we are pulling, everything we are doing is pushing them back, telling them that you cannot do that. So I think we are not being honest to ourselves as a nation. We can't be saying affirmative action, and then, as Martha said, a manager will say, I cannot give you a certain role because you are heavily pregnant, so I have to give it to another person. I cannot give you a certain challenge because you are nursing a child. I cannot give you a certain challenge because, as for women, you have mood swings, like those things that they say. It's so annoying.
Right. MF, I'll come back to you, but let me go to Cynthia, who is waiting for us patiently on Zoom. Cynthia, usually when women get to the top, there are conversations around how they got to the top. People will say she slept her way around. She is in a relationship with a certain boss. That is why she's got into where she's got into. What do you think it is? Is it just stereotypical, or is it that women feel like that is the only reason or the only way they can get to the top? That is why they do that, or it's just stereotypical nonsense, as I mentioned earlier? What do you think?
Well, yeah, Ken, it's a cultural deficit. It's a cultural deficit. You see, in our culture, we're brought up to think that some roles are reserved for men. And so if you were naturally walking into a company and you were looking for the CEO, your first inclination is the man that comes out in a sharp suit should be the CEO. If it turned out to be a woman, this is how you are dismissive of her. And that is where it all started. It starts right from home, where we start to assign roles to our children. A lot of homes in our Ghanaian context, in African context, the girl child is always made to do the menial job. The menial job has nothing but time poverty. So even at the workplace, and like Janice said, whilst you even get into those rooms, the men, your counterparts, your equals who actually can attest to your competence, they are still expecting you to take the downtrodden roles. They're expecting you to be the one to serve the coffee. If someone wants something, if they need water, this is how everybody is looking around the table to see who needs to grab the water. And they're all thinking that the woman at the table must do that. You go to any learned space with your colleagues, they need to serve food, there's buffet. They're expecting that you dish out their meals for them. So our culture itself, the way it's situated is where the problem starts from. And then it follows us all the way to the office. And so a lot of women, in the very beginning, when we were struggling to find our voice in the room, had to align. Ken, a lot of lobbying goes on in the corporate space. When a man is lobbying a man, they don't see any problem with it. When a woman is trying to use the same strategic approach, then the labels start to fly in the room. People start to think that you're a harlot, you're a slut, and you're this and you're that, and they come up with all manner of things. If for some reason a woman who is well-versed, well-exposed, understands that networking is what gets her to the next level, so she starts to find the strategic people in that space that can actually nurture her to get there. Because as I said to you, we're not asking anybody to give us a free ticket to the table. We want to build our own tables. We want to earn our keep. To earn your keep means that you need to have a certain level of competence to move into that space. And so that's what we're trying to do. But to do that, it means you need to lean on somebody, to learn from them. And in those moments when you're trying to learn, people start to have all manner of sentiments. Because here in our part of the world, unfortunately, every association with a man is a sexual association for some reason. That's how we dub it. You know, so people start to look at it like, as soon as they start seeing you in certain offices, oh, you know, there goes the story again. In fact, I do know of a story where a particular company was telling young girls to use their biological check to get positions, biological check. And it was such a common thing, biological check, you know. But we've gone past those days. We've gone past those days. Women now understand that their value is incomparable.
Right.
We know very well what it is we bring to the table. And so if you find a woman at the top now, she's not sleeping her way to get there. This is a woman that has understood the business of the business she's into, has learned at the feet of people that actually know what they are doing, and is ready to serve. Is ready to serve. You know, Ken, people are always looking at the woman with a double burden, you know, scale. You're expected to be a perfect mother and still be a perfect boss. And yet, when you work it all out and it's working out just perfect, people start to look for reasons why they should bring you down because they don't think that it is possible to achieve equilibrium because you're. And so, for us, I believe my panelists agree as well, that seriously, we've transitioned from that space. But the problem, the underlying problem, is not in the policies that we have crafted. It's actually in the mindsets which is ingrained in our culture. And that is where we need to actually deal with the problem and solve it from there.
Right, Cynthia, I'll come back to you once again. Let me go to Martha. Martha, you are the head of current affairs and news with the Adom branch. Do you ever feel that most of the time, or a few times, or sometimes, your authority and your opinions are challenged or brushed aside just because you're a woman?
Sometimes, but mostly I have the support of the team. And I think I've gone beyond wanting to prove myself that I am capable of doing it. And so when you're coming to my desk, you're coming there because you know I can do it. I proffer solutions. I lead the team. And so one of the things I have done for myself is to learn every part of the business. From the one that you think an intern should do to the one that you think the manager should do. So you don't get to bluff me. When you bluff me, I get down and I do it myself. Just so you know that I am not sitting there by virtue or the fact that I'm a woman. And so they wanted to balance something, so they just put me there. I am capable. And I don't second guess myself. I don't question what you think about me, and so you don't need to question it. I am capable of doing the job, and I have proven over and over and over again. And so I am at the point where I don't really question that anymore, because my boss gives me that room to operate, and he has made me see that he believes that I know what I am doing. Just few times, sometimes it comes up in a conversation where you feel, if my colleague said this, you would have listened. But because I'm a woman, you pretended you did not hear, okay? And sometimes you have equals do that. You have even subordinates do that. They come and ask you, you tell them how to go about it. Then you see them finding other ideas. And you ask yourself, why are you going around? If A had told you that, would you have gone around trying to find other ways around it? So yes, it comes up, but you have to build your capacity to the point that you are not moved by that. Else you're going to be moody, and the same people will turn around and tell you this is what the woman does. The woman is always moody. The woman has mood swings. The woman is this, the woman is that. So I am not going to get through to me. It gets to that point, but you don't have to let it show.
Right.
You are stronger than that. You have to be strong in the mind. So you are talking, and sometimes, it happened to me some time ago. I was very crazy about that. I wanted to react. Then I pulled myself back. I was making a point. Then one of my colleagues cut me and made the same point.
Right.
Like, can I just finish my point? It is my idea. I think I know what I'm talking about. I don't need you to cut me and do that for me. And so sometimes when you are pushed to that corner, you are forced to react. And then when you react, you give them reason to say, this is what women do. You are being petty. When the man does it, he's being assertive. When the woman does it, she's being too known. No. So for me, I have not questioned it. I am superintending or working with men and women alike, young and old alike. You just have to know who you are, what you're worth, and don't allow anybody to question your worth.
Janet, so how then do women build fortitude? Has it got into or ever got into a point where you're about to take a decision and you say, let me take this decision in such a way that a man would have taken this decision? Or let me take this decision so that people wouldn't say that I'm taking this decision because I'm a woman?
In my profession as a politician, I remember when myself and Nana Yajentua became the first general secretaries in Ghana. Not even in Ghana, in West Africa, we thought we broke the glass ceiling. But then we saw that NGOs that claim or purport that they are gender friendly, they are fighting for women, that used to collect money from outside to do their business and things, started writing letters. Instead of writing it, all letters are usually directed to the general secretary or political parties.
Yes.
When myself and Nana Yajentua became general secretaries, they changed and now they were writing to chairman. Oh. You understand what I'm saying? So I confronted some of the NGOs, and I had to confront them and call them out that this is bad, just because we're women. And you know, at times they talk about fundraising. It becomes more and more difficult for us to raise funds because these men, they play golf. So businessmen, talking about managers, directors, they all play golf. So when they go there, they play their this and discuss their matters. You can't be there. You have to run home to do so many things. And even if you find yourself there, people will begin to talk and other things. And when you go to them, they ask you, who is the man behind you? You understand? Those are some of the things that they did and push me. At times I sit down and I ask myself, when I die and I'm coming back, should I come as a man? Because it's like the disrespect was becoming so much. You don't trust me. You think a man is better than me. That you want, that who is the one behind you? And I said, behind me, no one. No. I'm the one behind and in front. The person will, on a more serious note, say that I'm asking, like, who is the head leader of your party? I said, I'm the leader of the party. And these are the executives. So among them, who is your head? I said, no, I am head over all of them. And if you are making any decision, it has to be me. So you are talking to me. You have never spoken to a woman. We will do it today. So you are speaking to me, no one else but me. So some of these things are very, very annoying. You can see that the person is looking down on you because you're a woman. And at times, even our colleague women, I realized that a lady who had been in politics became a minister. We were supposed to see someone, and he said, Janet, can you get me a man who can be in... I said, me, Tofia Kwamba, no. As Nigerians would say, I'm not bringing anyone, I'm bringing myself. What do you mean? He said, because of the caliber of person, like if the president you want to go and meet, you know. I said, no. He is going to meet me, no one else. I don't have anyone to bring. You want me to bring a husband or something that, no, like a big, I said, no. He has to, so he had to meet me. Because see how difficult it is for us to be able to go in with some of the... So it's difficult as a woman to break through in politics. How to raise funds become impossible. They send you out, they drink. I remember even at some point, I had to drink some alcohol because I take malt. So when we went and I said malt, the one who took me stepped on my and said he mean some berries. That what?
Baileys.
No, she means berries. The way they look at me.
Oh my God.
And she said, we are not going to sit here to talk and you will take malt and record us. Everyone must go. So I had to take this.
To be able to raise funds, you have to bring Baileys. Wow.
Oh, well, it's a serious, very serious issue, but sometimes you have to laugh it off.
You know, when you ask how you take the decision so that it reflects, you are thinking, should I take the decision as a woman or take it as a man or just mix it somewhere? Take it as a human being. Thank you very much. You see, when a woman is taking a decision, the woman considers factors that men will not consider. The woman thinks beyond what is in front of her and goes, because that is our nature. Yes. Okay, so we bring it to the table. Yes. And so we may be professional, but we are motherly too, because we have those motherly instincts. And so if you are designing something in the newsroom, place of work, the woman is thinking about, will girls be comfortable here? Will children be comfortable here? I don't think men deliberately forget, but it's not in their nature. Yeah. So if you have the feminine touch to something you are doing, any other person who walks in will see that some thought, extra thought went into this. And so because it's our nature, we do it effortlessly. I don't think men want us to compete on that level, because even the man who is raised by the most loving mother cannot have that instinct. It's given to women and we have it. Right. Uncle Ebo once said, God gave women that because God knew we will raise children. And as you're raising babies, they can't speak. They can't communicate, but you must know when there's something wrong with them. And that is what we grow with. Unfortunately, as we are growing, it becomes complex. And we can feel it more and see it more. Yeah. So if you want it done, you better bring a woman to a table, because the woman is going to give you perspectives that even if you have 30 men, they cannot give you.
I'm not cutting ahead.
Janet, we are running out of time.
I'm not even cutting. I just want to say something small. You know, there was this committee that was formed to take care of a hospital. This committee, they sat down and saw a very nice place on top of a hill, and then they built the hospital there so that people who are there, even when there's no light, fresh air, they forgot that pregnant women, when they are in labor, they couldn't climb. And this committee was made up of only men. That is why we are saying that God knew why he created Adam. And when he could not take care of himself, they brought Eve to solve the problem. Right. So there is the reason why God himself saw Adam and had to bring another person. A man alone cannot do it. So when you bring the two of us together, it becomes perfect.
And if I want to pick your final thoughts, I'll pick their thoughts. You're a media person. What role do you think the media has in shaping narratives about women?
I think it's high time we stopped this stereotyping. Even in programming, Janet mentioned earlier that in terms of empaneling, who are you putting on a certain show? We need to be very deliberate as media people. And when you come to the newsroom itself, managers, we need to encourage young girls, okay, to want to take up the job. I have had young journalists look at me, and when I tell them what I go through as a mother, as a wife, and still able to do the job, they go like, hey, me, this job, I can't do it whilst being a wife or a mother. And they wonder how you did it. Yeah. This, I feel, is a perfect opportunity for leaders like myself, Martha, and all others in the various newsrooms to encourage the young and upcoming journalists that the fact that I've been able to make it, you can. What they need is guidance. Of course, there are challenges. It's not easy. That's why you have people around you. You have family. Fine, you might not be lucky to have a family to support you. But then, the world is evolving. There are so many ways you can find help and support to be able to become who you want to become, particularly if you're dreaming of becoming a successful journalist. There are several ways, there are several opportunities to explore to give yourself the necessary support you need to be able to excel. Now, as a journalist, it is not just enough being in the newsroom and just being minded about doing what you do every day in storytelling. It is a whole world on its own. You need to be prepared to step out, to take the challenge, okay? I think it is only in journalism that we pretend to know every other profession. The journalist is a doctor, is a teacher, is a nurse, and it's all. It's by virtue of the work we do. You must be seen as having authority, knowledge of all these fields, so that when you come into contact with these professionals, you don't embarrass yourself. Now, how do you do that? You cannot gain all of that knowledge when you are doing the everyday thing in the newsroom. You need to be ready to go out there. Put yourself up to big challenges, open up to platforms, open up to cause that might not necessarily be your everyday terrain. That is the only time. And it can be so scary that, see, there are editors who would assign you to chase a certain story. But somebody will say, oh, because I'm a woman or I'm a girl, how do you expect me to do this? Ken, I have to be very honest with you. When I started this job, it's not even as a job. I've never been deterred by the fact that I'm a girl or I'm a woman. No. I've always seen myself as complete. I've always seen myself as able to do it. Thanks to my dad, he's a father of 8 girls. And there is no excuse. Yes, he has done everything. And he sees himself like he's the standard. If you cannot do it, do what I have done, then forget it. And there is no room for you to look up to any other person. You are the solution. Yeah. You have every answer you need to be successful, whether career-wise, home, spiritually. And so you should see yourself as a complete person. Do not feel overshadowed because there's a gentleman or a man sitting by you or acting in the same stead as you. Do not allow people to let opportunities pass you because you think you are a woman and the man is more capable than you. No, you are complete. Janet said it. See, this world is not complete without the woman. When the Bible says, and the man was not complete, so God created the woman, it is not about marriage. It's beyond marriage. It's not a marriage thing. Do you understand me? So as media, these are the things we are supposed to be doing. We should talk about it more. We should mentor. We should guide the young ones. Challenge them. Yeah. Some of them, they are just confused. It's just the red herrings. Just the mention of a certain topic, they want to quell. But that is your job as a manager in the newsroom, as an editor, as a lead person, a team leader. Say, no, I have done it. I have done everything in the newsroom, from reporting, presenting, everything. What haven't I done? but I'm still here. I could have quit. But you have to be tough and see yourself as complete. And I think journalists, it's high time we talk more about these things to encourage the young ones that are coming, that media is not so lost that if you're a woman, you cannot make it in there.
Right.
And Ken, please, a quick one. To help others, she has spoken about the newsroom, but to help other women out there, like Janet said, when she's empaneled, she will show up. Others will not show up. And you are saying they ask the question, who am I going to be on the panel with? It's because usually when they are paired with other people, they are looked down upon. They are insulted. And look, every woman who appears on any show is not just coming as her. She is coming as her family. She is coming as her mother's daughter. She is coming up. They come with a lot of weight. There are those who tell you, immediately I get the flyer that I'm going on this show, my mother will start sharing. And people are watching. Don't bring disgrace to me. Oh. They will not do the same thing to a man. So as media, we have to be deliberate also. That on a day we decide that we are empaneling all women, we know the character of the men we bring. We know the character of the women. Can we put all women there and let them also drive issues so that you get a female perspective? Instead of putting them, sometimes one woman in the midst of three men, and then they'll go over her. And when she decides to do it, that will be the top story of the day. Yeah. We'll cut only the woman's reaction, and that's what we put out there. Let's be deliberate.
I want to give the final word to Cynthia, but before I give you the final word, Cynthia, I want a yes or no answer from this question I'm about to ask you. We now have a female vice president. Do you think you will see a female president in your lifetime?
Absolutely.
Janet, do you?
Yes.
Do you?
100%.
Okay. Right, Cynthia, I want to give you the final word, and then you also answer that question for me, whether you think you will see a female president of Ghana in your lifetime.
Absolutely, yes. I look forward to it. Yes. And, well, my final words will be that we want to encourage all young girls, wherever they are, to be visible, lend yourself to be nurtured by people who've walked it. There is no need, absolutely no need for you to make the same mistakes that we made when we started our career. A lot of people have expertise that they are more than willing to share, but you need to be very persistent in your approach, in making sure that you can glean that knowledge from those people. To our policy makers, we are really tired of the rich papers that have been produced to us. It's time for action.
Right.
Action. We want to be able to actionize everything that we've put out there. So there needs to be that intentionality around getting people to understand what their rights are under the law and exercising those rights. And by all means, when they open the door, we are asking that they keep it open so that all competent and capable women can take up the position and show themselves up at every given opportunity. Thank you.
Cynthia Maulawe Kodowu is the Executive Director and Founder at HR Network Africa. Thank you very much. And joining me in the studio also was Emefa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli. She's the project lead of strategic partnerships and projects with the Joy Brands at Multimedia Group Limited. I also had Martha Krensel Aqua. She's the head of news and current affairs with the Adom Brands. Ladies, thank you very much for joining me in the studio.
Thank you so
Janet Nabla. Oh, I almost forgot you. You lit up the place. You lit up the place. Thank you. Janet Nabla is also the founder and leader of the People's National Party. Thank you very much, ladies, for your time this afternoon.